What's up? RagerIn5678 here, and welcome back to another DBD video, but this one is actually going to be a little bit more different from the usual videos I put up. Obviously, if you're not familiar with my channel, which, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you're not, because, well, I mean, if you look at my subscriber count, I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, more than 99.9% of the population never heard of my channel, which, that's probably true, but anyways, regardless though, usually the kind of content I produce is just multiple like videos of just games that I'm playing nowadays. Like for instance, on the weekends I play Ghost of Tsushima, then during the week I'm playing Final Fantasy Crisis Core, and then when we're finished with Final Fantasy Crisis Core and Tsushima, well, you know, we'll just switch games and stuff like that. But every now and then though, I'll put out different videos of like games that I've been playing, you know, just on my off time and stuff like that I really enjoy. You know, games like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, games like Overwatch 2, and of course Dead by Daylight. So I want to go ahead and put it out there that this isn't particularly a Dead by Daylight channel, and honestly I'm kind of glad it's not, because I have a really hard time actually sticking to like, you know, like one particular game, because I'm the kind of guy that really enjoys variety. So you know, I honestly can't really ever stick to a game, but when I'm like, when there's like a new season that's coming out like very soon, like, you know, Dead by Daylight, you know, with the Alien chapter coming out tomorrow, I tend to stick with the game and put a lot of time into it. But today, I want to go ahead and talk about something very unique, you know, and to me. Really, this video is just, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and just say it right out of the bucket. This is just all my opinion, okay? I mean, this video isn't meant to be taken seriously. In fact, I really don't know why I'm even making this video. I just am, you know? I mean, it's not, you know, just to put another video on YouTube. I never do that. Honestly, it's just something I feel like doing. And, you know, it's my YouTube channel. And I do whatever the fuck I want. So, bam. As simple as that, really. I mean, that's the great thing about, you know, living in America. You can do whatever you want. But anyways, if you can't tell, I'm American. But anyway, regardless though, let's get to the point here. I'm here to talk about my experience as, I'm not gonna go ahead and say as a survivor main, but starting to play a whole lot more of survivor than killer. And I have to say, man, you know, it's like it's so weird. It's like cooking a burger on one side and like for like 5 minutes, then you take it off the grill and that's it. You're gonna have one side that is cooked and another side that is like raw and mushy, and some people like it. Some people like, you know, freaking having their meat sliding across the grill, you know, and then, you know, flip it over, slide it back on the other side of the grill and eat it. It's called a blue burger, which is fucking weird. But then again, some people like it, so it must taste good or something. I don't know, I never had it. But anyway, the point is though, is that I used to play a whole bunch of killer. Alright, I mean, I guess you want to go ahead and say, yes, I was a killer main for years, okay? You know, I started all the way back when, right after the Huntress released, and I started on PC, and then I kind of, like, you know, got off of it, because I didn't play my PC that much. But then when it finally came to consoles, stuff like that, my friends were on consoles, and we all started, you know, playing together, and it's pretty much became part of our library ever since. But even though that we, you know, obviously we played Dead by Daylight together and we play Survivor, I would play a whole bunch of killers because, well, for the first off, I mean, you're not always going to be playing with your friends unless you have, like, you know, really, really good friends. With, I'm not saying my friends aren't cool or anything, they are. But they're not going to always be on, especially because the friends I play with are all in Britain, which, if you don't know, depending on where you are in America, it's like 5 to 8 hours, you know, different. So, you know, the time difference is definitely a big factor. So when I'm by myself and I'm playing Dead by Daylight, I play killer. And I play a whole bunch of killer because I actually enjoy it. But I never really had a particular killer main until the Trickster came out. Now, I know when Trickster came out, a lot of people didn't like him. Now, it was multiple reasons, okay? Number one, I mean, Trickster is just a dude, right? You know, he's nothing, there's nothing monstrous about him, he's just a dude. Number two, he's pretty flamboyant. Now, whether, you know, you think like Trickster is like gay or not, let's be honest though, he's very flamboyant. He's very arrogant. You know, because if you see his Mori, he literally gives the autograph to the survivor as he's murdering them, which is like hilarious to me. But that's what it is. And number 3, his playstyle, playing against him isn't fun, and playing as him is kind of hard. And then number 4, in my opinion, he's not that strong. Okay, I'm sorry. I know there might be some people who are more new to the game who might think Trickster is OP or something, but honestly, though, I mean, he's not. He doesn't have good map pressure. He run out of knives pretty quick. And plus, I'm playing on controller, so my experience is going to be different from most people who play on PC anyways. But that's my experience. But I know with all these downsides, I don't know what it was about Trickster. No, I do know what it was about Trickster that got my attention. It was everything that I just said. Right? First of all, him being just a human, like a regular dude, kind of, I don't know. It just made it awesome because number 1, he had great cosmetics. I love all of his cosmetics. Number 2, you know, his flamboyant nature and stuff like that, like him just loving himself and stuff like that. That's really psychotic. That's really scary, you know. It's like a psychotic sociopath, whatever. You know, I mean, it's some crazy shit, and honestly, it's almost like, you know, like a real thing. You know, I mean, I'm not saying that I know someone who's like Trickster, who's flamboyant, but is very, very popular, but he murders people and stuff like that, you know? But I just love that, you know? I love crime cases and stuff like that. That shit's cool to me. And plus, him, you know, playing as Trickster, again, is very difficult, but it was mainly, first of all, he was the first killer that had voice lines, which I thought was very unique, and it kind of made him stand out between all the other killers. Plus him just, you know, being a regular human dude, you know, it made him stand out from all the killers. And then his laughing, but also just how difficult he was to play. Again, especially on controller. If you never played it on controller and you're playing on PC, dude, please listen to what I'm saying, man. Put it in your gamepad and play one game of Trickster, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, he's just insane. But I know most people aren't gonna do it anyways because I mean it's Trickster. I'm asking you to play a, you know, what I just said, a really weak killer. But I'm a guy who mained him for about 1.5 to 2 years, you know. But anyways, so yeah, so that's my experience. And then after the Resident Evil chapter, I took a break. I came back a couple months after Artist, and then the game just felt very different. I mean, boon totems were still in a pretty good spot for Survivor, and the game just kind of shifted, you know, differently, to where, you know, it still kind of has the same problem as it is today, where a lot of people said, oh, killers 3-gen now more often, or killers slugs more often, you know. They're being toxic and all that stuff. And then you have the killers saying, oh, survivors, you know, they're more toxic, they're gen rushing me, they're body blocking each other, you know, sabotaging everything, blinding me, all this stuff, you know. And honestly, it kind of, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it kind of just drives me away from the game a bit, you know. I'll admit the community can be very interesting sometimes. I mean, you don't have to look too deep to find the toxicity among the community, but I'm not gonna go ahead and say that, yeah, this is like the worst community I've ever been a part of, because there are really good parts of the community that, well, you know, that you can find. For example, there are some really good YouTubers that you can find. Like, you know, I think we can all agree that, you know, Ostarva is a really cool, like, guy. He's a really fun, he has really fun videos to talk about. Plus, he's also informational and all that stuff. Then, you know, you got Spooky Loops, who, you know, he makes some really cool videos. He seems like a really nice guy, and stuff like that. So, I mean, you got all these good, you know, YouTube channels out there and stuff like that. But, you know, of course, you know, you have that, and then, of course, you know, you got the toxic, you know, survivors and killers and all that stuff, and they're out there, okay? I mean, I'm not gonna point out any names and stuff like that because I'm not here to call anyone out, because I know I'll just be roasted anyways, because I mean I don't have a, I mean, maybe I do have a fan base, but it's sure as hell not gonna be big as, you know, other people and other channels. So, you know, don't pick fights and you're not gonna win, right? But, and I mean, I'm just not that kind of guy, you know. I know that I said, you know, like, this game can be pretty toxic, and it can be. This game can be pretty toxic, but, like, being toxic is just a little bit different in my eyes than what I think some people would have the definition of toxicity. To me, being toxic is like when you're trying to get a reaction out of another person. You know, you're trying to get a bad reaction, maybe because you want the attention, or maybe, you know, you're trying to get for a laugh or something like that. Whereas, you know, chilling out, having some fun, by, I don't know, like, you know, head-on flashbanging a killer or something like that, or, you know, flashbanging and putting a, you know, a fucking blast mine on a generator. I mean, I don't know, like anything. Or, you know, killers, you know, you're tunneling because you want to see a Mori or something like that, you know? Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna do that when Alien comes out. I'm gonna tunnel the shit out of people, you know, if I start having bad games because I suck at the killer. And I want to get a video out there where, you know, I can show off the Alien's Mori, which I know you can just go onto anyone else's channel to, you know, get a Mori, but, you know, I got my own channel, you know, I want to do my own stuff. But, yeah, but no, but overall, though, I mean, this game, you just gotta kind of just take it with a grain of salt. And honestly, you can't take this game seriously, alright? I said this before, and I'm gonna say it again, this game is never going to be balanced, alright? That's just the reality of it. This game will never be balanced. I do appreciate how people, you know, I do like conversation and debates on, like, you know, whether this game is survivor-sided, whether this game is killer-sided, whether it's easy, or what, you know, or whether, you know, Swift is broken or something like that. I do enjoy those debates because I like seeing, you know, I enjoy debates. I enjoy watching them. I don't like really being a part of them unless it's like, you know, something I'm like, you know, deeply with or something like that. But I mean, overall, I mean, let's all take a step back and look at what we're dealing with here, right? It's a video game, alright? It's nothing that is meant to be taken serious, alright? I mean, I don't know where else to go from there. I think I've just made my point, you know, clear. But I guess to kind of conversate into like my experience as a, you know, as I've been playing a whole lot more Survivor lately, I will go ahead and admit this, alright? And this is just, again, my opinion. But playing Survivor is so much funner, and it's so much easier than Killer, okay? I mean, let me explain, alright? With Killer, right? And this is from my experience from playing Killers for years, okay? You might have a totally different experience. That's fine. But playing Killer, in my experience, you're either going to have really good games, as a good killer, you know, like Wesker, Oni, Blight, you know, Nurse, stuff like that. And those games can feel like really good. And then you'll have games that are really going to test your skills on those killers. And then you have bad games with really bad killers. And then, or, you know, games that you have to really earn to win. Which it feels good, but you still have that little bit of stress, you know. Excuse me. But when it comes to playing Survivor and stuff like that, like playing Survivor, you can be really bad at the game and still win. I mean, if you really consider escape as a win, which is the Survivor's objective and stuff like that. I mean, let's not, you know, kick around the bucket. It is to escape and stuff like that. Then you can not do gens the entire time, and if your team are like at least halfway decent, or I guess if the killers were really bad, then you're gonna end up, you know, having more fun as a survivor because there's a lot more freedom with what you can do in the game. For example, I mean, like with Killer, you can't really do anything but go after, you know, kills and stuff like that. Whereas Survivor, you don't want to work on gens, go do totem, go do saves, go do body block, or, I mean, if you're an asshole, you know, just teabag and click at the killer's face, you know? I mean, you can do that kind of stuff. Whereas Killer, I feel like you don't really get that much freedom. And plus, there's 4 of you, okay? There's 4 survivors and 1 killer. meaning that you can play with your friends, you can play survival with your friends. With, like, let's be honest, usually playing video games with your friends is way more funner than playing by yourself. I love playing single player game, you know, and I will go ahead and admit I'm an introvert. All right, I do enjoy, playing with my friend and socialize and stuff like that, but I need time for myself, and it makes me happy, But it can just be more stressful on the other side when you have to do everything yourself. You have to break the palace yourself. You have to down a survivor yourself and stuff like that. Whereas the survivor, I'm pretty sure I said killer, but you guys know what I mean. But as survivor, getting in chases and stuff like that and winning those chases when, killer is supposed to have the power roll and stuff like that is so much more satisfying to me. And maybe it's because, I'm still newer to survivor and stuff like that. But I never felt the same satisfaction as, playing killer when it comes to winning a game as a survivor. Plus, again, I can really not have to worry about too much, and I can still, win the game. Now, let's be honest, winning isn't everything, right? There's games where I've lost, all right? And I'll admit, there are games where I get a little bit annoyed at not really the killer, but mostly at my team. Sometimes, or at least, actually, the other day I had a match where instead of escaping, I went for the save, got down by a plague, got on the hook, and then the plague went after the person that, excuse me. And then the plague went after a person who had unbreakable, the person that I saved, and went for a chase. And I had an Ada sitting at the gate. Now, I admit, she was probably halfway across the map and stuff like that. But she had more than enough time to come and save me, get me off the hook, and, get us both out. But she played it really safe, and she didn't even try to come to get me. She just stood by the gate, and she probably, walked towards me as soon as she hears the terror radius. She just said, fuck that, I'm leaving, and I died. And I'll admit, it kind of annoyed me because it's like, dude, you had so much. But again, that's where communication would have been great. But solo queue experience, am I right? But yeah, and then there are just times too where it's just like, it's not like you're really trolling the killer, but messing with the killer. It can be a bit funny. There's a part which, if you guys haven't seen it already, where I go down by the pyramid head, but I trapped the flashbang before I went down, and it blinded the pyramid head. Obviously his screen, is blown up with whiteness right now while I'm down. And then after that, he goes over to the generator that I put a blast mine on. He kicks it, and he gets blasted again. It was so hilarious to me because I blinded him twice. I know I was thrown at his side. And honestly, there are times where I do feel bad for the killer. I know that, being a killer does require more out of you. So that's why, I think that's why most people don't really go for killer when they just start. At least the people that I know, I met, and I play the game with, most of them just play survivor for maybe a week or two. If they're really into the game before they even try killer. And some of them end up liking it, and some of them just really don't, and they just stick to being survivor, which, again, that's totally fine. But yeah, again, I think that's kind of just why, in my opinion, some people would say survivor has the power role or killer has the power role. It's just because, going back to that Patty, thing, which was a random idea. I know it sounded really weird, but it's just the first thing that pops into my head. But it's like playing two different games, One game requires more. One game is like playing Dark Souls sometimes, okay? I'll admit, there are some killer games that are just so easy that I could have done it if I just, if all I had was a head. If I was just a head and I was playing with my nose, my mouth, my tongue, and all that stuff, I probably would have won, all right? I'm not joking, by the way. But then there are times where, I'm playing, a killer game, and there's no way I can win. I'm on a bad map with bad killer. I'm on the wrong map with the wrong killer with the wrong build. Stuff like that. Messing with the wrong survivors, man. 'Cause, yeah, survivors can get very good. And I also feel like too that most of the time it's just really just depends on the survivor messing up a loop. So, you know, like the killer can do some mind games, stuff like that, and depending on who they are, like Blight or Nerf, you know, they can, you know, it's really up to them to mess up. But as a survivor, for the most part, it's for them to mess up. And I think also, I feel like I noticed that I'm starting to get a lot better at my chases too. So maybe that's this, you know, it's just a sense of progression, you know, and the better you become as a survivor, the harder it is for you to go down and stuff like that. So I don't know, that's just my opinion. I know, I'm sorry if this kind of just went everywhere, but I've been talking for like 20 minutes with no script and stuff like that, so I kind of hope that I kind of made my point, which was basically, that's my experience as Survivor. Okay, is that Survivor was way more chill. I'm having way more fun, and I feel like I'm actually going to be sticking with the game a lot longer since I've, you know, started playing Survivor. Plus, I'm playing Nick Cage with, I don't know about you, but I love Nick Cage. You know, I mean, Nick Cage, like, I'm not gonna go out and say that, oh my god, I'm a big #1 Nick Cage fan or anything like that. I do like some of his movies. Like I said, I highly recommend Color Out of Space if you want to watch a good horror movie. I'm a Lovecraftian fan as well, so I mean, of course, I mean, there's a lot of good Lovecraftian movies I can recommend you and I've seen. But if you want to watch a Nicolas Cage movie, that's one good movie I recommend going to see. There's plenty of other Nick Cage movies, but what I really like about Nick Cage is that he feels like you're actually interacting with Nick Cage, like he's actually talking, you know. And of course he makes some jokes here and there, but then there's some times where he's getting chased like, ah shit, ah fuck, like that or something like that. And it's like, yo, you're like, you're realistic, you know, like you're actually saying stuff. Like this is supposed to be a, you know, I mean, I wouldn't say this is supposed to be a horror. This has a horror theme, okay, for the game. It's not really a horror game. Sometimes it is when you're going to get some Myers or a Ghostface, but this game has a horror theme. And I think if we were really in like real life and doing this crap, you know, getting chased by killers and stuff like that, we'd all be acting like Nick Cage sometimes. But you know, I mean, it's just, I really love his voice line. It's so interactable. There's so many of them too. And it just makes me so jealous. I really wish they would, you know, put some of the voice lines for the Resident Evil characters into, you know, the game, just like they did with Nicolas Cage. You know, like I know I play a lot of Chris, so sometimes says, you know what to do, you know, stuff like that. Like, and that's like, you know, after you heal someone or something, or, you know, there's just plenty of ideas they can go with. Also, somebody very close to me also made a really good point too, is that they should go back. And if they ever do like another like Evil Dead chapter, they should invite Bruce Campbell back again to, you know, record more voice lines so he can have voice lines in the game. Can you imagine if you've ever seen Evil Dead or watched the Ash vs. Evil Dead series? Can you imagine the shit he'd be saying? It would be just, it'd just be hilarious, man. Honestly, it would just be so funny. But hey, that's up to the developers at the end of the day. We can wish and want all we want, but that'll be up to the devs, you know, stuff like that. Which, I guess, speaking of which, if you want my opinion of the devs, they're very funny. And not in a ah-ha-ha funny way. Like, sometimes they make questionable decisions. I can't really name one off the top of my head, but yeah, I'm not a behavior fanboy. I'm not trying to get recognized by anyone or, you know, anything like that. Honestly, I mean, I do my YouTube channel as like a secondary hobby and stuff like that. Mainly, I mean, I started this, you know, YouTube channel for somebody very special during the pandemic recently. But now it's kind of like, now I'm seeing how like you know, some people are actually, you know, and they enjoy my content. I mean, obviously they do because they subscribe, you know, for some reason. But I really do appreciate all you guys' views and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure I know that probably maybe nobody is gonna make it this far in the video. But first of all, if you made it this far in the video, my hat's off to you, King. I mean, or Queen. I mean, you know, girls could be watching my channel too. But no, I mean, my hat's off to you for hearing me babble on about Dead by Daylight and stuff like that. But really though, I do appreciate everyone who's viewed my videos and liked it. I mean, of course, you know, I mean, maybe you don't like it, stuff like that. That's fine. I mean, I mean, again, it's America. You can hate or, you know, love, stuff like that. Honestly though, I mean, it's just, I'm just glad that maybe I'm making my mark in history, you know, at least, or maybe somebody who does enjoy my channel and stuff like that, maybe I'm making some sort of impact, you know, maybe I'm helping them escape. Because one thing I've learned about, you know, the real world is that it can be pretty hard, you know, it can be pretty tough, especially being an adult. And I mean, I'm not saying that teenagers have it easy, because I didn't have the best life growing up either. But without getting like too deep and personal and stuff like that, let's just say that YouTube was part of me, like, as I was growing up, you know, watching channels like Dashy, Markiplier, PewDiePie, you know, just all sorts of different video gaming channels, stuff like that, and it's just been a part of my life. And hopefully, if it's not today, maybe one day, I mean, I can be doing the same. You know, I can be part of someone's childhood, or I can be part of somebody's day who's probably having a rough time. And that's pretty much what it is at the end of the day. So, but yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and stop talking now. I kind of just, I don't know. I think I've kind of said everything I wanted to say. I don't know what I'm even gonna name this video. At first, it was just gonna be, you know, my experience as, you know, a survivor main, quote unquote, whatever, like for the first week or something like that. But I went on to talk about so many different stuff, and it took me a little bit to actually get to that point about talking my experience as a survivor. And I don't even know if I actually said a lot to, you know, say, you know, about my experience from the survivor. But I mean, hopefully from what I said and stuff like that, you know, stuff like that can kind of get you the idea. But anyways, I hope you guys have a great day. I'll definitely see you guys tomorrow for the alien chapter. And if you're new to my channel, you know, hey man, feel free to check it out. I got plenty of moments on DBD, and I don't just do DBD. I do all kinds of, you know, video and stuff like that. So if you want to check out me and my friends for some reason, because you like our voices, go ahead, man. You do you. But thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, that's all I have to say. So later.